Jai Janindra, and welcome to Arihanta Institute's Voices in Compassion Studies speaker series today. The Compassion Studies Initiative at Arihanta Institute brings together leading scholars, educators, and thought leaders from Jain studies and related fields to explore how we can all live more compassionate lives. In a world that often feels divided and uncertain, Compassion Studies Initiative at Arihanta focuses on fostering human-to-human compassion in action as a powerful response to our most pressing challenges. We're delighted today to host one of our community's dear friends and colleagues, Dr. Nitin Shah. His presentation is titled, "Health is the Greatest Wealth One Can Give to Self and Others." I'm Deanna Hewlett, the academic project coordinator and graduate student here at Arihanta Institute. I've been your co-host in this series alongside Professor Christopher Jain Miller, our Vice President of Academic Affairs at Arihanta. But today, I have the honor of co-hosting with Arihanta's CEO, Dr. Parveen Jain. So before I pass it along to Parveen and Nitin, I'd like to share a few logistical details with everyone. Professor Shah's presentation will go for approximately 35 to 40 minutes, and afterwards I will moderate our Q&A discussion. The Zoom Q&A feature will be open throughout the presentation, so please ask your questions as they come up. We at Arihanta Institute would like to thank the Uberoy Foundation for their generous support in our work in the Compassion Studies Initiative. We hope that you enjoy Dr. Shah's presentation, and I'll now pass it on to Dr. Parveen Jain.
Good morning and Jai Janendra. Welcome everybody to our talk series on compassion in action. Today we are really honored to have Dr. Nitin Shah with us to deliver a very special talk. Dr. Nitin Shah is a professor of anesthesiology and critical care at Loma Linda University and assistant chief of anesthesiology and chief of the surgical ICU of Long Beach Veterans Healthcare System. His medical practice has included work in India, Zambia, Zimbabwe, in Africa, and in New York and California in the US. He has held numerous board and officer positions in various Jain organizations, including president of the Jain Center of Southern California. He is presently member and chair of the board of directors of Shanti Charities and a director of the American Chamber of Commerce. He has extensive fundraising experience for educational, social, and health needs around the world and is a trustee of the Claremont School of Theology, where he works closely with the president in sponsoring or assisting with multi-faith and interfaith educational programs and conferences. Dr. Nitin Shah has devoted his life to serving the underprivileged worldwide. Over the past 32 years, he has organized and led hundreds of humanitarian missions across 27 countries in all parts of the world, personally traveling to 19 of those countries. His work has focused on providing essential medical care to underserved populations, driven by a deep commitment to global health equity. Thank you very much. I call him Nitin Bhai. Thank you very much. We are privileged to have you with us today. And over to you, Nitin Bhai.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night if you happen to be in that time zone. And I appreciate Dr. Parveen Jain's comments. Thank you. And more importantly, thank you for inviting me for this presentation. I will be giving a course for Orient Institute titled Compassion in Action, and it's going to be in 4 parts. And besides the health, I'm going to cover a couple of other items that we do as a part of our charity. So thank you very much. This is an interreligious approaches that I will be covering. So it makes sense for me to cover a little bit of what 7 religions that I'll be covering talk about compassion. By the way, have you come across any religion which doesn't agree with compassion? No. Everybody, that's the most common thread between all religions, at least seven that I'm going to talk about, and I'm sure others as well. So for Jains, that's our upbringing, and the Agams, the canonical Jain scriptures, advocate for nonviolence, ahimsa, and compassion towards all forms of life, emphasizing that without commitment, all religious behavior is worthless. That's a pretty uh, strong statement, but it does make sense because the belief of ahimsa and compassion are interrelated. They are changeable, and the whole life we talk about is interconnected. Parasparopagraho jivanam, that's one of the belief of Jains. Christianity, compassion reflects God's love and is expected of Christians towards all, especially the marginalized. Jesus Christ emphasized love, mercy, and compassion towards others. And we certainly know what Christians do all around the world. Hindu, the Hindu and Jain are the oldest religions, and they kind of go hand in hand back in India. And what they believe is compassion is a duty or dharma, embedded in ahimsa, nonviolence, and caring for all living beings. That's kind of a difference between Jains, Hindus, and some of the other religions. Buddha fits in there as well. Bhagavad Gita encourages selfless action and kindness. Buddha. The teachings of Buddha emphasize loving kindness, also called metta, and compassion, karuna, as essential qualities, and every follower is expected to practice them. Islam. The Quran mentions that compassion is a moral obligation. Following the Prophet Muhammad's example, and it's expressed through charity and kindness. What they have, what's called zakat, means kind of not necessarily mandated, but recommended for all Islamic followers to give a percentage of their income. Jewish, the concept of tikkun olam, which means repairing the world, emphasizes the responsibility to actively contribute to the betterment of society. And finally, Sikh religion, altruism is essential to the Sikh religion, and seva or selfless service is an important concept in Sikh religion, and serving food called langar or free community kitchen is a huge thing that Sikhs do through their gurdwaras all over the world. With this background, I will obviously be covering a lot more in my 4 hours of Compassion in Action course. Here we go about my life story. It all started for me in Southern California, that's Los Angeles, with a free community health fair in 91, and it continues annually. We offer basic services, blood test, consultation, EKG, mammography pap smear for females, and dental cleaning, filling, extraction on site. Yes, since 2012, we do this on site, and give eyeglasses. And all services are, of course, open to all. A very brief about what will it take if you were to go and organize that in your community. Desire, dedication, commitment, and hard work. Yes, it does require work, obviously. But do you have to be a physician to do this? Do you have to be a healthcare professional to do this? No. Anybody with the desire can do this. And if I may summarize in one sentence, it is this: mobilize the resources of the community that is interested in having a health fair. Because every community has resources that we need, some more, some less, and you can certainly borrow, etc. But focus on what they have, what they need, and how you can utilize those services. As an example, here a cardiologist is talking to a patient. We were fortunate that in 2006, Anaheim City, yes, the city where Disneyland resides, they called us to organize Anaheim Health Fair that has been going on annually from 2007. This is the biggest health fair we do annually in Southern California. And this year's, incidentally, will be on September 20th. This is a picture from the first one in 2007. It was at Brookhurst Community Center, and it rained on that day. So overnight, we had to come up with a plan to cover it. Regardless, it certainly was a great event, as you can see. This is from 2012. We moved into a hospital, literally. This was in the parking lot of the hospital. And finally, in 2014, the city of Anaheim gave us Anaheim Convention Center. Their whole E is totally given to us for that day or a weekend. And this picture is from that, where we've been doing it annually. What do we do? On an average, we see over 1,200 people in 2 days. Facilities we provide will include, there's a long list. Bottom line, if you are a 40-year-old man or woman, if you have no other medical condition, you come there, go through everything that's offered, and assume that it's all normal, you are good for another year. You literally do not have to go to a doctor unless you have a medical problem. So we have taken it to that level so that we are offering this, everything, of course, for free to people. Furthermore, in 2012, as I mentioned, Anikant Community Center joined hands with Lestona Free Clinic. And with their help, we can offer free on-site dental treatment as well as giving eyeglasses. From December 2015, and as the saying goes, necessity is mother of invention. We started this. We needed a place where we can refer patients who don't have insurance to. 2011, I found Lestona Free Clinic. We started doing that. With their help, we started expanding our health fair. In return, Mr. Ed Gerber, the executive director, asked me, hey, I have people who need free surgeries. Can you offer? So, as I like it, the answer is always yes. Let's discuss and figure out. Dr. Bharat Patel, who has Beverly Surgery Center, and also Alapio is Association of Los Angeles Physicians of Indian origin, joined hands with Sarvamangal Family Trust from Manubhai Shah and Rikaben, and we started doing free surgeries. Initially, 1 day every 3 months, moving on to 2 days a month until last year. Incidentally, we had to stop because Dr. Patel sold the facility. Yes, we were offering free outpatient-based surgeries to people who are underinsured and under income. That's very, very important, of course. And this is a picture from that. Dr. Patel, Dr. Gomez, he's a general surgeon from Loma Linda University, Dr. Gupta, an anesthesiologist, and all the other ancillary staff. Dr. Gomez, I must mention, he drove 82 miles one way to come and do 2 hernia operations for patients for free. Unbelievable. Why do we do all this? Well, Albert Einstein said only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Moving on, 1999, I was asked to go to India in a place called Bidra Sarvodaya Trust. And all of these people except Mr. Vijay Cheda, who is the chairman, now the chairman, at that time vice chairman, have been a part of the team that we put together in Southern California. And he's a physician and many others were medical students. Anesthesia resident, he is now an eye surgeon and so on. So we have been going there every year in January when they do mega camp. And they have progressed from what they used to do. This is their operating room. And this is in Kutch. They also have a hospital in Mumbai, so they refer people to Mumbai. After the earthquake in 2001 in Bhuj, Kutch, they realized that a lot of people need help with the rehabilitation. People who are gone, unfortunate, but gone. People who have lived with loss of arms or legs and other injuries, they need rehabilitation. So they built literally a world-class, second best in India, in my observation, Jaya Rehabilitation Institute. Then they moved on to develop Ratanvir Nature Cure, Tara Wellness, etc. They've got in another place also. We signed contract MOU with UC Irvine's Anesthesiology Department in 2018 to send their faculty and residents for up to 4 weeks every January during the mega camp. The hospital runs 24/7 all through the year, but January they do mega camp when they see 20,000 plus patients and do 800 to 1,000 operations in 3 to 4 weeks for 5 years, and this is now signed again, extended from 2024. And what I like the most, can you ever imagine a prosthesis for an animal or a bird? Remember, it is not so easy even for humans. We have to go 2 times, 3 times to make the fitting, etc. But during disaster, it's not only humans, but even animals and birds get affected. Who is going to take care of them? And JR Rehab Institute does that as well. Cow with an artificial limb. Imagine this was prepared in Bidra, local. And Bidra, by the way, is a village of 5,000 population. And they started serving 51 years ago, 1974. And the good thing about cows, the acceptance rate is 90% in cows. This cat, as you can see, these are normal limbs, and the cat was paraplegic. They came up with this little device that makes cat walk now with her condition. Learning from this, I was past president. I am past president of Jain Center of Southern California, 2002 and 3. From there, we learned that we need to go beyond religion, and we need to go and develop something where we can help more people without kind of the restrictions of the religion. So we founded Anekant Community Center. Incidentally, Anekant is the second principle, or shouldn't say second, but one of the 3 principles of Jain religion, Ahimsa being one, and Aparigraha being the third one. It was founded in 2005 to do non-profit work in a non-religious humanitarian way. And we promote all kinds of activities under Anekant Community Center. One of the big things that we believe we have done in the last 20 years is helping people with natural disasters, going back to Katrina floods in New Orleans, to several earthquakes, tsunami, you name it. If it's major, of course, the definition varies, etc. But these are the list of 21 disasters in last 20 years that we have helped in some form or fashion. Latest being the Myanmar earthquake. We are actually working with Community Partners Internationals based in San Francisco to build several schools from our funding, which is close to 100,000 US dollars that we have raised. And this is to rehabilitate, restore those schools. Giving you some glimpses, Kashmir earthquake fundraiser. This is at Jain Center of Southern California, which was incidentally open only a year before this happened. And this was in March of 2006. The earthquake happened in October of 2005. This is Mr. Khan from Pakistani community. There were 500 people, 70% of Pakistani origin. We had 8 performers, 4 Indians, 4 Pakistani origin. These are the group from Pakistan to whom we have given the funds, etc. We gave it to ADI Foundation. in Karachi, and they are national based. And after the earthquake, before our event in January, they invited me to visit the earthquake area. So these are pictures from my visit to Islamabad. They drove me to the earthquake epicenter, etc. And these are the representatives of EDI Foundation, Mr. Vijay Bhai Chheda, whom we gave funds for the rehabilitation of people, processes, etc. to Bidra Sarvodaya Trust. Then, if you realize, this is famous actor Son Pan. He invited us through Dr. Susil Jain to go to Haiti. 14 of us ended up in Haiti. This is 130 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. This is the hospital. This is the tent in which 150 people slept. Air condition running only from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. This is the only air conditioned place. Everything else was hot. Only one running water. It was good 6 days of experience. If you remember earthquake in Nepal, me and my wife were fortunate to visit that, and we met with Acharya Channaji and Silapiji's Jain monks there. Uh, this place had a school completely gone. Fortunately, it was off hours, so no one passed away, etc. But the house next door opened up their garage for the school to continue there. Right. And during our visit, we found Siddhi Memorial Hospital and connected with Bidra Sarvodaya Trust to establish. So after me and my wife came back, we recommended to the Siddhi Memorial and Bidra Sarvodaya Trust to unite. So this has been there ever since. And for the first year, Bidra Sarvodaya Trust even supported them with two people who lived there to help them get on with the rehabilitation center there, based on what they did in at Bidra Sarvodaya Trust. So 2001, 5, 10, 19, and in 2023, after we did the fundraiser, I visited Turkey and met with doctor and others from Syria as well. We have helped them significantly. We have sent three 40-feet containers load from India consisting of prostheses for arms and legs and wheelchairs and crutches to them. And we've supported them with a Mercedes van that's a mobile rehabilitation or prosthetic unit that still continues to work there. Coming back to 2007, Anekant Community Center certainly had that as a landmark year. We started three major initiatives that still continue today. One of them is surgery at Viara. That is kind of an epic of a place. I sat there, explained them, and then we started, that was in 2006, and we started with 2007. Bhikkhubhai Patel of Tarsaidia Foundation, now they also have a development trust in India, have been a big time supporter. We do very efficient way, hernia hydrocelectomy, 150 surgeries in just 3 days. We also started first medical mission to Zambia, which then stopped and continued from 2013 onwards, and now it's an annual mission. And the NIM Health Fair that I talked to you about. So this is the Viara Hospital. This is in 2006, we had our meeting with the board, and we haven't stopped. Over 3,000 surgeries in 18 years. All patients, we are very fortunate, no major complications. And we also do big time joint injections for osteoarthritis. And this is Dr. Sarat Sariya, my classmate. Raksa, his wife, who is an anesthesiologist, Dr. Amani, a urologist, and so on. They come. There are different groups of people who come with me to different places. This is a setup for cataract surgery in South Africa. We've been doing this in multiple places. This is Dr. Uday Sai, dentist. This is from Nigeria in 2018, I believe. Moving on to Europe, this is from Albania, where we served local Albanians with the help of Iranian community. They have an establishment there of 3,000 people. They wanted to help a local community, and a urologist from Cleveland, Dr. Daneskari, had called me, can you come and help? And we went and did the eye care, vision screening. And all these three glasses to these three girls were given during that time of our visit. The latest, listen to this, that was just last month.
Sai Prema Foundation, in partnership with US-based Anikant Community Center, provided free eye screenings and glasses through a 5-day program in Suva. This initiative, which began on Monday, covers 35 schools in addition to the hospital. According to Nitin Shah, director of the center, over 2,448 people have been served with tremendous positive feedback. Sainimili Mangimangi has more.
Within just 5 days, the Anakan Community Center has helped both young and old walk away not only with clearer vision, but also with a free pair of glasses.
About 35 plus minus schools we have screened. Until yesterday, including here, we have screened 20,448 people in 5 days.
Dr. Nitin says the response has been amazing, and if given a chance, he's more than ready to return to Fiji.
We are very thankful to the Ministry of Education, but I will be back. I'm open. If the government wants to do it, let's treat everybody in Fiji.
He recommends that the government adopt a similar initiative by going into communities with free programs as such.
Where average Fijian can afford to get their eyes checked. Very simple.
So far, I'm very happy with the inspection that has been done. I've been given classes, and the patients of those that are looking after so many people that have come through yesterday and today. I think it is a good idea, it's an opportunity for us to have our eyes checked.
FBC News spoke to those waiting their turn, and the feedback was clear. People are impressed and want more of these services made efficient and easy to access, not only in private institution, but in public hospital as well. Sainimili Mangimangi, FBC News.
Well, how can we forget COVID? COVID-19, we had been to many countries, had done many good things in 2019, and come back on January 22nd, 2020, and we are grounded. We had plans, but can't go anywhere. So we literally rested for 5 days, and then whatever we did is listed here. Daily meals we started with the United Sikh Mission. They were cooking 3,000 to 4,000 meals per day for 120 days. They were feeding people in the hospital. We gave refurbished Chromebooks in 3 phases, over 2,200. Actually, that number has gone to over 5,000 now. We started serving groceries in Tasia with a church, Bina Park with Jain Center of Southern California, and Norwalk with Joy of Sharing Foundation. We have given over 12,000 grocery bags. And during that time in Norwalk, when we were giving grocery bags, we realized people who don't have homes, what are they going to do with your rice and dal and beans? So we started cooking, and we haven't stopped. We also did monthly blood drives at Joy of Sharing Community Center, and we were involved in giving 11,000 plus vaccines. This is with the United Sikh Mission. This is with Bina Park School District, where we gave, this is Manu and Rikasa, who have been our big supporter for all the activities that we have been doing under Anikant Community Center. This is the grocery drive at Sanatan Temple, where we also started cooking. And I must tell you this story. This lady, on day 2, when we were giving groceries, walked 2 miles with these 2 little girls in the heat. It was month of May. When I saw her going back with the grocery bag, we gave her a ride, and she didn't speak English. How are we going to communicate? She took out the address in her phone, and that's how we reached her place, but tears rolled out of my eyes. Blood drive. This is another thing that we started during COVID, cooking at Sanatan Temple. At that time, we were cooking 1,500 to 2,000 meals every Sunday for 3 years, from May 2020 to July of 2023. Every single Sunday we cooked. And here is Dr. Narendra Parson, who is a supporter and advisor of Orient Institute and a good friend. He volunteers every single time when he's in town. And this was our epic in Thanksgiving Day.
Dr. Nitin Shah speaking on behalf of Joy of Sharing Foundation. And today we serve 6,815 meals to over 30 different organizations who are serving homeless people as well as various shelters. As a Thanksgiving meal, we wanted to make extra. So we made pasta based the main meal. We had cookie and bread, and we also gave water bottles. We needed more volunteers, and we had overwhelming support of volunteers. The need still remains, and we continue to serve, and we will always appreciate anybody coming with giving their time to volunteer on Sundays, and also if anybody wants to donate to our cause. Thank you.
We have served over 345,000 meals so far. With that, coming towards the end of my presentation, and I'm going to give you a tip. Besides anything that you want to do, of course, you can reach out. I'll be happy to help. And that's what I talk in details in the 4 hours of presentation. But coming back to, I'm sure we all know the Dalai Lama, and we believe what he says. I believe the purpose of our life is to seek happiness. Me, being of Indian origin, now American, lived in Africa, but I had to go to China to find my secret of happiness. And I'm going to share a beautiful quote with you. This is a Chinese proverb, the secret of happiness. If you want to be happy for an hour, take a nap. If you want to be happy for a day, go golfing. If you want to be happy for a month, get married. Sorry, all married people. If you want to be happy for a year, inherit a fortune. Ladies and gentlemen, money will keep you happy only for so long because you can neither eat, drink, or sleep with money. But if you want to be happy for a lifetime, go help someone else. This is from Zambia Mission. Naina Patel, my niece, she is a school teacher, but she was helping us in the hospital, of course. One afternoon, we sent her to play with kids, and that's the picture from there. And this is my last video, a fun video, with a purpose, of course. We have been going there annually, and last year we did 611 cataracts in 3 days. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my story. 900 and some missions in 28 countries, out of which I've been to 19. And I live with this belief: true happiness comes from serving an unknown. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shah. It's just been a real delight to listen to you and hear you weave this wonderful tapestry of your life of compassion and action, and to really see how the concepts, teachings, principles of multiple world religions based in compassion, as they all are, really weave their way through the course of your life and the work that you do. So there are some questions coming in, of course, that I want to begin the Q&A session with you. But I also want to highlight this consistent thread of compassion throughout the different world religions and traditions that you really started with. And also highlight, something that you had mentioned in your podcast and your conversation with Dr. Miller, of this ability that you have, that you presented with us today, to do such incredible work in community across the world, and then also to really maintain a good balance of your own life. It seems that there's just such a tremendous joy that comes with your work, that it's not this kind of drudge or difficult response to the challenges that you're seeing, that there's a very skillful and compassionate and grounded approach to your work that I just really wanted to highlight and really wanted to emphasize. So I've got a number of questions and reflections of my own, but Dr. Shah, I'd love to begin with this first question that's come in from one of our attendees, Cosmes Zuma. And the question is, what is the hardest part of doing all this humanitarian work?
Yeah, I will mention a bit about Zuma and also Irene. They are both on, and they are from Nairobi, Kenya. And I met them first time last year, and I've been mentoring, talking, and of course supporting through Asoka and Madhuban Patel and Upper River Foundation. Zuma, thank you for joining. The hardest part is very simple: your own conviction. If you are convinced, and compassion and giving is such a thing, no matter even your worst enemy will not be able to argue against you, because there is nothing to argue. Either you give or you don't, and you don't. Nobody has to give. But if you are giving with nothing expected in return, there's nothing anybody can criticize you for. Yes, there are multiple ways of doing same thing, etc., but they are all literally processes. But the fundamental thing of giving, nobody can argue. Coming back to your question of the hardest part, I think your loved ones and your family. If you can convince them on your method, your process, the life that you want to live. And I was very fortunate that I could convince them. And I still talk with my son, because I will bring out a little personal thing as well. I lost my first wife in 1990, and then had remarried, went for divorce. So I was a single parent raising my son. And I've frequently spoken, now of course he's 44 almost, but he never felt that I was compromising, largely because he had the shadow of my parents. They were with us ever since before my first wife passed away. But the point I'm getting at is, after my divorce, it took me 20 more years before I got married again. And the simple reason was, I was so devoted to this work, I didn't find people. Women, girls, they were not really interested in living this type of life day in and out. And I was quite contented, because my parents were here, my son was growing up. But that is the hardest thing, Zuma, to find a partner, to convince your parents, brother, sister, people you are living with. If they buy into your system, that's it. So now, and before even I married my wife, Kinna, I took her to two countries: Mexico for a lecture that I was giving as a professional, and to South Africa on a mission. And I told her, she's a homemaker. You are free to travel, you are not free, whatever you want to do, but this is my life. I'll be traveling 4 to 6 times a year in different parts of the world. You are welcome to join every time, anytime that you want, and things like that. And it's wonderful. And my son, of course, was married and gone, so that was not an issue. But that is the hardest part, to have family support, because ultimately, on good days and bad days, we do come back to our family.
Thank you for your response there, Dr. Shah. This again was something that I remember hearing in your podcast is, how do we actually continue doing this work? And I think a lot of people look at, well, I've got my personal life here, and then I've got the work that I want to do in the world here. And there's this idea that we have to that they're in competition with each other a lot of the times, but they're really not when we actually have supportive family, have supportive community that understands our work in the world. And then there's this integration so that they're not kind of these opposing forces that happen. So it was a really beautiful answer to that question from Zuma. We've got another question coming in from Kenya, from Irene, from the Light and Hope Initiative. So she says, thank you, Dr. Shah, for the wonderful work you're doing. What made you venture into charity, and what keeps you going every day?
Thank you, Irene. C and Zuma actually are colleagues working in Light and Hope Initiative in Nairobi, Kenya. When I started, it was just, I love challenges. And I've had, obviously, we all have challenges in our lives. And my first challenge that, of course, I haven't spoken about goes back to 1977. And before that, I will mention a little bit about my grandfather. I've got tremendous influence from my maternal grandfather and grandmother also. I spent 4 years of my high school with them, and there were just four of us: grandmother, grandfather, and me and my cousin sister. And we were same age, 12 years older than me. So we had great time, and my grandfather is my idol. And when he passed away at the age of 87, my uncle, his son, didn't even know where and what he had been giving. And of course, I knew part of it because I was there for 4 years with him. But very silent worker, and he did all kinds of things in life, being political, being player of cricket, this, that, and other. And I had this in me. And now I come to Baroda doing my anesthesia degree after being a medical doctor. I was on call, and one day I was called to save a life of a 22-year-old engineer. His name is Kulbhushan Gupta. He was literally suffering from a condition called Guillain-Barré syndrome. And he was the second patient from a refinery where they had ICU with only one bed. So the first patient happened to be there. He was sent to our general hospital. I was on call, and I started working on him. I will fast forward to, I worked with him, with, of course, the team, everybody, but I happened to remain as a resident in anesthesia leader only because that thing had never happened in that hospital of 1,000 beds ever before. And first 2 days, I was heavily criticized. I'm wasting my time, wasting everybody's time. He's not going to make it, this, that, another. After 7 days and 4 hours of work, he survived. Not only that, few years later, when I communicated just once, he had become an engineer and he was a productive member of society. This had happened only because I accepted challenge of doing something which was totally out of the box. And that kind of became my drive ever since. That give me a new challenge and I'm on for it. And that is what happened. The Fiji video, that's one of the top examples. We were there first time with that group. I had said in 5 days we will screen 25,000 children. It took me literally 2 months to convince them that at least they need to do their part. And now they have become believers because we delivered in 6 days, of course. which show 25,350 children and adults. So challenge is the pleasure, the joy that you get of giving back. Irene, it has to be felt. It cannot be described. And how do you feel it? By being there. Thank you.
Thank you for your passionate and very heartfelt response to the question, Dr. Shah. We don't have any other questions in the chat, so if anyone who is joining us here today wants to add any other reflections or question, please do. In the meantime, I'm going to pivot just slightly to a question that I had that you almost actually answered already, but I'd love to hear a little bit more about it. So, you've been setting up setting up health centers and setting up ways to respond to needs in certain communities globally, and also responses to particular emergencies, earthquakes, hurricanes. And so what I've noticed in my own life is that in these emergency situations, people come together and they come together really well, whether it's a small community in a town with a wildfire or these bigger events. Even I've noticed too is when there's an ambulance or a fire truck going down the road that everyone just stops what they're doing and pulls over, and no one's really, there's no doubt in everyone's mind whether this person follows a different religion or this person has a different worldview, that everyone's pulling over in that way for this emergency. So when it comes to just daily interactions with people with different perspectives, different views, I just wish that we could recruit that same, and I know I'm not alone here, that same solidarity, that same sense of belonging that we have with each other in kind of just our day-to-day interactions, that I wish we didn't necessarily need these emergencies. So is there anything that you can offer our community in your thoughts about how we can engage this way of being in a more regular way than just something that emerges when we're dealing with these very crisis situations?
And a question for which we can debate for hours without getting anywhere. My simple answer is a principle of Jain faith, and that is Anekantwad. If we accept there are multiple ways to do the same thing, not all, but a lot of problems will go away, because as human beings, we certainly are egoistic, some more, some less. And we do believe, oh, this is the only way I know, and this is the only way it can be done, etc. So if we accept there are different ways people will think, different ways we can do, then I think it will help solve a lot of problems. But otherwise, I don't think I have any magic answer to your question, but tolerance is the key. And we are losing that bit faster than I realized. And there is one other thing I will tell you. Most of us, we still, like even I, quoted Albert Einstein. And what people, the current generation, is looking for is the real-time heroes, real-time advocates. Yes, and I'll tell you a story. 2 years ago, I was with an anesthesiologist from University of California, Irvine. He was volunteering, and we were talking about Mahatma Gandhi. Obviously, the world knows this, that, another. And his answer was, great. He did phenomenal things, this, that, another. But that was then. I'm looking for a modern day Gandhi. And he did say, I thank you for bringing me here so that I get to do this anesthesia for free surgeries in Viara, India that we were doing. But I think that is what people are looking for, something that they can relate to in the present environment. And I think we are probably lacking a bit in there. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shah, for answering the question as well as you could. I know it was a big question. I've got a couple other reflections before I pass it on to Dr. Jain for his closing reflections. But there were a couple of things that came up that I wanted to hear a little bit more from you about. One was this idea of giving without attachment to the outcome. of being able to, and this was kind of in your question or in your response to some of the questions we've had already, is how do we set ourselves into participating with in a health fair, or offering some service that we're able to in our community or to individuals, whether that's here locally or globally. Uh, is there something in the Jain tradition? Is there some passage or concept that can really bring forward this idea of doing the service without the attachment to the outcome that we might have?
Yeah, I think live and help others live. And the other one that I quoted, Paraspara Graho Jivanam, and that is help each other live. And, compassion and ahimsa are really interconnected. And there are tons of different ways of practicing compassion. And as simple as being eco-friendly, turning your lights off when you don't need it. Believe it or not, at work, there were quite a few rooms within my office area. I always kept turning the lights off. Then one of the nurse even made a little placard and put it on the door. When not in use, turn the lights off, from my habits. I mean, it's a simple thing. And some people say, oh, it costs less than a cent. I said, yeah, but every cent, if you add up, it can become dollars, right? So, little things. One of the easiest ways that we all can give, which is very beneficial to the society, is donating blood. That's one thing, except your time doesn't require anything. And that blood that you give is going to be regenerated in your body. But do we do this all the time? No, we don't. But, I think giving and the feeling of giving has to be felt, and it has to come from within. Easier said than done, definitely. I've got tons of examples from the other side of some people saying, a doctor that I won't, of course, name, but I'm interested in helping only when there is a health fair at Jain Center. And I do about 6 to 8 times in Southern California, but let me know only for this. And I respect that. At least he's honest, because otherwise I keep sending messages and never hear any response, or they don't show up, which is fine. But that's what life is about. You pick what you like. At least he wants to do something for Jain community, being a Jain, fine. You don't want to do for an American outside, that's okay. But, pick whatever you like and try to serve.
That sounds very much like the self-compassion, I think, that you brought up in your conversation with Dr. Miller, and probably emerges in the course as well, is really being, what I hear from you is that ability to be skillful in who we surround ourselves with, who we work with, and really how we decide to be of service. And then, of course, with letting go of the outcome as well, and practicing anikantavad, ahimsa, and adiparigraha as well. So I think at this point, I just want to ask Nitin if you have any closing reflections that you wanted to offer the community. I know you already had your presentation. If there was anything else you wanted to share about your work that you're doing right now, maybe what the rest of the year looks like for you.
Yes, I will be in 3 African countries in July, and before that, I'll be in Jaina Convention. And actually, first time during convention, we're doing a blood drive. So from Thursday afternoon, whole Friday and whole Saturday. And I'm trying to recruit people. Actually, so far we don't have a major success, but I'm sure we still have time. So after our Jaina convention in July 3 to 6, 7th, I go to Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And I'll be working with Irene and Zuma towards vision screening, and then in other areas. Our goal is to screen 80 to 100,000 children in those 3 countries. Let's see what happens. And then November, I'll be back to India, and January again back to India and Sri Lanka and so on. But if anyone wants to volunteer anywhere, please reach out to me. You don't need anything except yourself and, of course, airfare to the country that we go to, or come to Los Angeles. September 20th is NIM Health Fair, the largest one that we do every year here. But the simple message, start giving. Whatever that is, start giving. And then the feeling that you get is going to drive you more. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. I would like to now pass it on to Dr. Jain for some closing reflections before I close everything out for today's presentation. I think you're on mute,
You're
Dr.
muted, Dr. Jain. Yeah.
Thank you, Diana. And thank you, Dr. Nitin Shah, for a wonderful talk today. It's just amazing. Your life has been an inspiration to all of us around you. And we hope and wish you continue on this path for many, many more years to come. It'll just help humanity. I think for the sake of humanity, we want you to continue on this path for many years. Also, I want to thank you for being there as a supporter of Arihant Institute. I know from the day I thought about it, I communicated, talked with you, and you have been just amazing, invaluable advisor and guide. And I personally thank you very much for that. Thank you, Nitin Bhai.
Thank you, Dr. Shah. We wish you all the best on your travels. And thank you, Dr. Jain, for your reflections. And thank you all, everyone, today for joining us for our Voices in Compassion Studies talk with Dr. Nitin Shah. At Arihant Institute, we are grateful for the opportunity to share his important work and engage in this meaningful dialogue about not only the study of contemplative teachings, but also their thoughtful integration into our daily lives. We hope to see you next month on Tuesday, July 22nd for our Voices in Compassion Studies talk, The Greatest Transformation in Human History, with Climate Healers founder Dr. Sailesh Rao. And I will drop that link in the chat shortly. All our very best to you, and may we navigate the path forward in service and compassion for all beings. Until next time, Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra.
Jai Jinendra. Thank you.